The following pages have been reproduced with the kind permission of the Royal Highland and Agricultural Society of Scotland and Mr. B. Kennedy, the author of this book.
This is the start of the 1922 onwards chapter. It's getting a bit more modern, only 101 years ago, as this was filmed in 2003. So, hope you enjoy. I've swapped everything around and I've got a valve in now and I've got a lot better pressure, so that's up. Right, aye. I've actually got this valve shut here, so when I push open, that's opening it to the flow in, instead of opening it to the return, which would mean technically I could use one pipe. I'm going to have to, because there's 2,500 psi behind this seals now, we're going to have to remake these seals. But I've got everything where I want it. I just have to get it all high pressure tight. You can just open that as well and it'll go down. That's what was wrong. You were getting the pressures equalising and that's why there was no power. Whether it's a faulty spool valve, I don't know, but I've cured it anyway. So that, it may be possible just to use the up and down and keep that valve closed. But we'll get it all hydraulic tight as well later on. But that's, at least it's working. It'll lift now with that 2,500 psi. I think if you rev it, it'll go to 2.7. So we'll get all this sorted out, and what was that? I'm wondering if we would go to a one pipe system. Just blank off that hole. Might be worth a try. Get rid of all that valves. And up would be up and down would be down. Might save some hassle. Give it a try. It's easy enough to strip that out of there. Anyway, so we can do that. This is showing the spool valve in the neutral position with the flow and returns just going back and forth to the pump there. This is the problem I had because of the way the spool valve works. It's pressurising the flow and return and they're balancing each other out, so I've got to overcome that somehow. The same problem when you move it to the other position. You see in the diagram there you're getting pressure equalisation, although it will lift a little bit. And I cured it by putting a valve in the return from the ram cylinder. That's a red slot up and down the way there, and therefore I got lift. It will also go back down on the return of the spool valve as well, so up and down on. I've been moving that chain, if you can see it, there we go. I've been moving that chain back because the forklift's going under the tyres here. So I've bored a new hole in this, which is extremely hard. And then we're away to bore that one, so I'll let you see what goes on to get that thing bored. It's a 3/4 hole that's to go in. I don't have that big a bit, carbide bit. I had to go through it with a carbide bit and then mill out the rest, so I'll get that off and set it up in the Bridgeport and bring you back. Right, I'll get you back a bit. This is extremely hard. 89 mil. Roughly. Oh, these are there, it's 86. 43. Millimeters. Yeah, we're bang on. I've had to put this vice swivels, so I've swiveled it to miss that. I'm thinking about moving it up a bit. We'll see. Anyway, get some safety glasses. Right, this new centre drill I've got is pretty good. Really good. Plus, because it's solid, you don't get the wobble in the chuck with a taper. So, you know, the double-ended ones, spot drills, that's much better. Right, let's bang a wee drill through first and make a hole. I'll find a carbide drill. I've been having a bit of trouble with well, I lost the original woodruff key when I was tightening up the spring that stops this going flying down, and I might run out of a tool, parting tool blade, because that's hardened steel anyway, but it was just a wee bit small, so I've actually taken the coil spring out it and I'm getting on fine. I'll just lock it. Right, there we go. I'll put that there up. That's in green, but I can give it a go. Too hard and fast. Some weight on it. These bigger carbide drills, they work better if you've got a hole in the middle. And they do like a lot of pressure. You're just cutting oil and pressure there. Oh, that's that one for that, but I tried an ordinary drill on it, but that wouldn't scratch it. That's running 1000 that one. Roughly. doesn't really matter if you break them because you can get a whole set for 18 quid off anyway. That's my second set. Yep. That was a grill dying, I think. Yep. I think we lost the tip. And here we go again. There we are, I'm just about to go through there as well. There's my chuck key. Doesn't have much usually, just to get it back into the realms of where you can do it yourself. That's good. Oh well, let's use it for a pin or something. Right, we'll just go right up to the biggest size. Carbide cement. See, solid carbide drills are brilliant, but they're really expensive. Well, that's that one shot as well, I think. Must be something really hard down in there. I've had to move that little chest of drawers twice because I kept going that way and hitting it. Oh no, it's still there. Good. Let's try a lot that one down through. Slightly smaller, just to get through that last bit. I got fed up with the lever always being at the back, so sort of that caused quite a few problems. It's kind of working now. There's a broken bit of cardboard in there. No chance. Another destroyed bit of carbide. We get a hole through the middle. That last bit was hard as Henderson's. Well, after that I had to just put a end mill in and work it round and round till I get the hole big enough. But I stuck it in that chuck, and problem was the chuck fell out of the B8 holder then after that. So it's back in the Loctite now. So. I've been making this stabiliser bracket for the David Brown. That's the original one. I just bored that out. I've still got to make a pin to go in that one, but made this one from scratch. You can buy them for about £19 like, but so I've still just weld that and drill a hole. Maybe get it finished tomorrow. They're half-inch holes, so I think I've got bolts for them. There's a bolt down there somewhere, went flying as usual. So I'll make to paint it as well. Can you spot the weld there where the arrow is? Let's see, I'll just finish machining the one for in here as well. This is going to be a straight one because I've already got that bit. It's just what I had. I didn't have a bigger bit of material, so I just used that. That's me got the stabiliser bracket finished. The one on the left's the one I made, and the one on the right's the original with a new pin on it. Unless you look good for this angle. It's quite a bit of work. I see you can buy them for £20 or something. But I like to make things if I can. Just going to get them fitted on the tractor now. That's both the brackets made and in position. So I found a couple of old garage door springs to use as the stabilising bars. They were free, so I used them, although they sit a wee bit different somehow. But that's all my problem. So I've now got stabilising on the outside and chains on the inside. So it'll only really be used to the forklift, so it works fine with that. And the hydraulics are working as well also. There we go. That's only taken me 2 days. Normal. Just normal. I'll go through because that's, I think that's M20. That's 19 mil holes. Just need to get a box for that one. M20. I've got a box here I can use just now. Gives them a way to put my feet up. Right, let's say I'm 16, so I'll get, I'll always just order pins for this. These are too long, but I can cut them down. The problem is I've been using these pins for other jobs. Dig in that. I have a bit of shaft and I can probably make some, I'll make some bolt out of that, maybe machine some. I don't know what that was for. Must have been something to do with the digger. You put stuff away in a safe place and then you go hunting for it and can't find it, usually. Anyway, that's a couple of big bolts there. So I suppose I don't think that would be too big. I've got a top link for the Major, but it's a bigger one than that. It's too big for this, but I put that older one. So it worked in okay. So puts the advantage of this tractor over the Major, because I've got a two-way spool valve now. I can put the mast, I can lift it up and even lock it into there, and then I can work the mast independently. With the Major you had to, the lightest thing moved, so what I used to do, if I wanted the mast to go up I had to shut off the ram, otherwise it would have just gone up to the top. I had a valve which I've used on this thing. So now with the two-way spool valve I can use the mast on its own or any conjunction you want. I lifted a bag, I had a pallet with half a bag of cement, sand, so it was about 1,000 kilos I would say, and it picked that up. But the good thing is also this has got weights at the front, so it balanced it out better. Whereas the Major you used to use the fiddler brakes just to go in a straight line because it would be seesawing. So this is a lighter tractor of course, so you would think it would be better, but some of the stuff David Brown did, it's like they made it up as far as I can see. Probably the latest and greatest at the time, but those valve chests, there's something else. You can get them, there's a place in England sells new ones, I think they're reconditioned, but you can get a replacement anyway. Just put them in there for a minute. Right, I'll just show you these hydraulics and I'll do that. Back to my machine tomorrow. Oh, always wondered why there was no throttle return spring in this thing. Found out there is one, or what's left of the one that's been eaten away by the salt air, and it's under the diesel tank has to come out to sort it. You know, usual David Brown. Well, I've finally got the hydraulics to work right. I'll lift the actual weight of the forks now. I checked the pressure and it was 2,500 psi. Probably if you rev it, it'll go up to about. So that's the hydraulics all working properly now. Or sort of properly. I'll just go with working. What it was is I've created a 2-pipe system, but that equalled the pressures between the flow and return, so you were cancelling each other out and you end up with zero pressure, although it would creep up if there was no weight on it. So I've put a valve in between the return and the spool valve, but it's going down on the flow with weight on it, so it's just use the spool valve up and down, and I'll keep the valve shut. And also the mast, all I've got to do is open the 3-way valve and that'll drop down, or as you maybe heard, you can use it with the spool valve, but it's a bit noisy. Anyway, so I'm waiting to see what will pick up half a ton of sand. The mast will, because I've done that many times with the Major. I'm not sure. Major runs about 2,000, this is run about 2.5, so it should make a difference. We'll go and see what happens. That's only taken me about half a year to get the thing hydraulics working. And I've only got them working because I ditched the valve chest, although it's all there and it probably will work now. That was the problem with this thing, you could not get the hydraulics to go down, they only ever went up and then no power. That was, the pump was worn, so that's a second-hand pump that's in. The remachined pump probably would have worked, but it was only given about 1,500 psi, whereas this is given 2 to 2.7 maybe, something like that. Anyway, we'll wait and see if we can pick up this sand. I started a simple job just to change the ignition switch on the Major here. As you can see, not so simple. There's 2 different dynamos apparently. The older one will have round terminals on it, and the newer one will have spade terminals on it. And the later tractors had 2 6-volt batteries as well. This is, everything on this is the early one with voltage regulator, but according to the diagram this wasn't wired up right. So we'll wire it up as per diagram and see what happens. It didn't actually work, so I put the wire back into A, and I've since discovered that there's no power coming out of the dynamo. So this is the wiring diagram for the earlier tractors. The one for the later tractors will be coming up in a minute. And on this one, if you have a dynamo with round terminals, it's an early one, and a dynamo with spade terminals, it's a slightly later one. Spaghetti, you know. So this is the feed for the battery. It goes through the amp meter and then goes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's okay. There's supposed to be letters on them, but they don't actually have them. Right, we'll put that on for the minute. So the dynamo has a yellow and a red and white tracer wire. So they'll go. Dynamo goes to D, which is that one there, enough length. No, we'll just make a junction, I think. got to join things together. I've got other things inside that will do that. About there. Right. I'll give these great big spade connectors little wee holes in them. Oh, with good luck I've got yellow spade connectors. But do they have an opposite? Yeah. So if we strip this is the feed from the dynamo. It was a nice day, so I decided to come out here, and then it changed. Not supposed to rain today. Right. Let's pick them. One of these 5-minute holiday jobs I'm famous for. I think everybody else is the same. It's good. Let's do this one. I've customised the housing so I can slide the wires in. Rather than fight with them in a wee space. Right, that's demountable. Don't worry about that one. I'll do the same with the red and white tracer. It also comes from the dynamo. Check there's no broken wires. The kids bought me these for Christmas or something. Can't remember. Yeah, look, pulled it right out. What a good that did. They're not the best, but I don't think I've got anything else. I put a fuse in the main line for the batteries, so that's disconnected, so nothing's live. Right, what it was, the terminal it shows you to put it in, this, you can see it from there, this end terminal here was only given 68 volts. It wasn't enough to start it, so I put it back in where I had it before, with the incoming main, so it's permanent live going into the ignition switch now. And that switch is it's off or on. Aye, there's no, it's not a momentary switch, it should flick back, but it's not doing it. It's starting it, I suppose, so that's the main thing. I'll just put everything back together. I'll give it an earth as well. That's the other thing I did, I connected the earth up to it. I'm not sure if that was part of the problem or not. Well, at least you can start it, but the thing is, when I turn it and start it, just, you know, in a normal ignition key, it would come back on you. It's not doing it in this one. I could put a momentary switch in, like a starter button or something. Let's see if we've got power to the lights and that. Figure out what the lights are. Brown. So that should be live all the time because it's the tail lights, isn't it? Or it should be live on the switch, I mean. So, in earth. Some more. Nothing. Water just bouncing over the place, but it's a bit to do with the barriers. Yeah. That's definitely the tail. Make sure that doesn't get just cut it off because it's not getting connected at the moment. And bend it over and tape it up probably. It's a good way of doing it, Sonny. I might actually use that for the beacon. And then you kind of run it when the engine's off. Or the ignition's off, I should say. Right, so it's a matter of putting everything back together, it's all working. I may put in an ignition light and a break between the starter and that switch, because I don't like the idea if you turn it, it stays powering the ignition. And a normal ignition switch will push you back. This one just turns on and right, I'll stop it there. If I do anything, I'll show you when it's all finished. Well, my 5-minute job turned into a marathon again. What's new? The new ignition switch is the proper ignition switch, and it's got off and ignition on. And then you would have been starting it with this lever if you had the original starter motor, which I don't. I've got a lorry starter motor, so it needs a momentary switch to bring the solenoid on. So I've ordered a waterproof 60 amp switch just to be on the safe side. And I've been tidying up the wires here, and I've got they won't end up in the length at the back. I've got a bit of ducting to put them in here, and I've run, this will be the wires that go to the, one will be for the beacon and one will be for the lights. I've sleeved them in this tubing, won't go off down that way. The beacon will be on a permanent live, and the rear lights will be on the switch on the dash. I've also put on a LED light, just so I know if I've left the thing on or not. So when you turn this on, you can see it there. So I've put that LED light on, just so I know the ignition's on, off, on. And what else have I done? I'm not sure that that dynamo's actually charging, because that light should technically go off, but it could be the way it's going through the voltage regulator. When I did wire it up the right way, it was only given 6 volts to the ignition switch. That worked. But I wired up the way it was before, and it's now got a permanent live through this wire here. It supplies it to the voltage regulator, and then it daisy chains into the switch there, so it's getting battery power. And I've got a fuse in here. I think it's 30 amp or something. Can't remember. It's better than the one that was in here before, because it didn't have one. So once I get the momentary switch, figure out where I'm going to put it. Maybe be in the side here actually. See how big it is. I may even have to fit it on the side here or something. It is waterproof, so it's not a problem. And we can pick up the wires we need here. What's this blue wire? I'll have to think about what these wires are for. Oh, that blue wire, that's just the feed. That'll be a feed to the back lights, but I haven't connected it to any yet. Although I think I've got a connection I can put it into. I put a wee bit of ducting in this hole. This is wrapped round. This is wrapped round 3 times with tape, so it should be okay. Of course, once everything's in place, it won't be moving about so much. So that's my wee 5-minute 2-day job. You know, not what I was planning on doing today. And I could have used the horn switch if I hadn't lost the screws for it, because it's a momentary switch. I put them down somewhere safe and I haven't found them yet, which is normal for me. I bought this momentary switch. It's for boats and it's waterproof. So I've got an attractor here, and I'm using the original starter for the Major to push it. So to turn it on now, you just turn the ignition on and then that's the way it would have been. You would have had a rod from there down to the top of the starter where the mechanical lever was for the solenoid. I still have the original starter in there somewhere. That's working. I've still got some. I found some more of this stuff, so I'll get the rest of it tubed as well, tidy it up a bit. But this is working quite well. The cable wasn't quite long enough, so I made up this extension, but it's worked out well because it used to fall off of here quite a lot, so it just sits nicely now. And putting a bit of tubing again, just so it's not a single. I might mix something up to go on the top of that. It's bolted on there, and these 2 bolts just hold this plate on, which is pulled up into the front of that. No, sorry, it's not. It pulls this up, that's screwed into that, and then that pulls it against that, and it just sits in this hole. So that's all, and then now I've got the proper ignition switch, so that lets me have I've got a power over there for the lights, and I've got a power over here for the lights, and there's a power to the beacon with a switch. Yeah, the beacon's on that switch. I can't remember if it's on a permanent live. Instead of just dangling in the air, I made a wee box up for it. Yes, so that's an improvement. We'll get lights eventually. All these things take time and resources, which are quite limited at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. That's it installed. I wanted it up here, 2 reasons. One is the flooding we get from time to time, and I had a plug there. So this is in a disconnect, so if I need that airline for something else, I can use it. So I nicked a fitting off of the big compressor, but I'll still be using that for some things. You know, like if you're running an air gun or something, that wee tutor thing probably wouldn't do. All this I wanted for was for this airline here. That's it running. I don't know how many cubic feet it does, but it's quiet, that's the main thing. Well, that's the piggy bank empty again. So I've been breaking egg mills quite a lot, but then I got some new to this milling, so I did that when I got the lathe. Mind you, I still break insets. So do the professionals, I think. And I must have a tidy up in here at some point. Keep meaning to do it, and then something else gets my attention. Right, what we'll do next on the tractor? Probably that end final drive again. Strip it out, put a new seal in it, see if it's worn. You know, 5-minute job, 2 or 3 days probably. Let's see, I have to be in the humour to do jobs like that. The other job I'm wanting to do is split the foot throttle and the hand throttle so they don't move each other. Now, I've worked out how to do it, but I've got to take that tank out to do it. So when I get round to it, I'll show you what I did. So, and I've got that hydraulics working. You've probably seen the video by now.